still threw over 4,000 yards. This is the modern NFL, man. But last year, he was already way down from previous years, and that was with Webb. If you get and you're older, if you get what numbers Gronkowski, who was hurt, who did he really have? Tony Hill was a rookie. He didn't really figure it out the late. Isaiah Wynn, who they brought in and drafted, was hurt all last year. So really, he did it all with Jedi mind tricks. And to me, he still has a bigger arm. I think Drew Brees benefited this year from being injured. You look at the numbers, Brady, and numbers lie. And this is numbers lie. Yeah, but this is when you really look at the evidence. Brady's even average yards per attempt, all that stuff for 2 years in a row, even compared to his thinking and dunking, is way down and then way down again. And it's perfectly mirroring his age curve. But who's his deep threat? Who's the guy that can create separation? Hold on, he gets knocked out. I don't know Michael Thomas going to be open regardless. Jared Cook's going to be open regardless. I know Alvin Kamara is a problem. Ramczyk is a Pro Bowler, all pro. He had, Drew Brees had all that may be true about him. And Drew Brees, I'm not talking about
Third in QBR this year, Tom Brady, 17th in QBR.
Right, okay, so one guy's middle of the pack, low middle, or middle of the pack. You got to guys, have you guys seen this thing on social media, this thing going around, Drew Brees against an Olympic archer? They just put him out a certain distance. The Olympic archer tried to hit a bullseye. Yep. Did it like 6 times. Drew Brees with a football 10 times. Did it center like 4 times. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, like, it's not about the Drew Brees. That's what we did.
Eric Bankroll, what's going on, guys? Let me know that you can hear me. And being that we're going live back at our normal time, which is a little bit early, we'll give a few minutes to let everybody kind of pile in. And we will get rolling. Going to do our normal hour show today. Maybe a couple minutes more, but going to try to keep it at an hour. We've got a good bit to cover, so I want to try to get that done as quickly as possible and then just leave the remainder of the show for questions. So give me a second. Let me throw this up on Twitter so everybody knows that we're live. We're getting some retweets coming in for the contest that we're running. So that's good. I was listening to First Take on ESPN and their discussion of who would they rather have at this point in time going into next season, Drew Brees or Tom Brady, and listening to Max Kellerman just make a complete ass of himself. Justice, what's up? Good slate of basketball tonight. Good slate. Some really good conference matchups, some big games tonight with a lot of conference implications, something that could have national implications down the road, depending on the outcome of them. Miami versus Louisville, I think, will be a good matchup in the ACC. Obviously, Maryland, Ohio State's a big one tonight. That is the big matchup. I think Florida, South Carolina is a good matchup. Obviously, I think it should be lopsided, but we'll see. Anything can happen. Penn State, Rutgers, I think will be a better game than most people think. So it's going to be a good night. Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Villanova, Creighton, Georgia, Kentucky, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, Kansas State. We've got some good matchups tonight. We really, really do. I've got a little bit of work left to do in the NBA, and then I'm diving headfirst into college basketball. I've got the first round of games done other than just morning practice reports, if you will, shoot-around reports, which all of the games that I've already done are 7 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off, so I'll probably have those, I'd say, by 1, 2 o'clock. So I'll be able to lock in my decisions if I have any on those games fairly early. And I am hopefully, because there's not really any really late action except for like the Fresno State and the Utah State game. Those don't right offhand intrigue me. So hopefully we'll be able to get the plays out pretty early today. Joshua, what's going on? All right, guys, we'll give it just another minute or two, let people file in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So be thinking of what you guys want to discuss after I go over the stuff that I need to go over. Don't put it in there yet because it'll be covered up by 1,000 other comments by the time we actually get to it. But just go ahead and have it ready. I posted a free play video a couple of hours ago on YouTube. It's an NBA free play involving the Thunder and the Nets tonight. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. There's also a contest. Had a client of mine bring it up. It got my wheels turning. So everybody knows I charge $4,000 for a 1-year all-access pass, which is every single play that I release in every single sport, no matter how low the rating is, game of the year, anything for 1 year. It's a $19,000 value. I sell it for $4,000. Well, for today, you can enter to win a contest. There'll be 3 winners where you can pay $3,000 and not only get a year, you're going to get a lifetime pass. You will have no expiration date. As I bring more cappers into the site, you will also get all of their picks for no upcharge. It is an industry first. I don't know of anyone that's ever done so. And I sent an email out to some of my long-term clients last night asking their opinion of what they thought about the contest. Is it something that they think would draw interest? Is it something that them being a long-term client that perks their ears up? I got tremendous feedback on it, so I decided to pull the trigger. I will not do this on a regular basis. I will do it this time, and this is it. But I hope it gets a good turnout. I hope we have a bunch of people, get entered into the contest. Like I said, there can only be 3 winners, but the more traffic that we drive into it, the more interest that we draw, I think is good. Yeah, and think about it. That's just for a year. You would be able to get it for $3,000, and that would be forever. You would have no expiration date. It would not expire in a year. You would get it until the day I decide to retire, which is not going to be in the next decade. So you get it forever. There is no expiration date. So obviously all of my long-term clients, my yearly clients, they're already all over it trying to win. But anybody can win this, guys. I made it as fair as I possibly could. So go watch the free play video. All you got to do is comment on the video giving me your score prediction for the game that I announced, and then retweet the post on Twitter, and you're entered. We will have the winners tonight. They'll be announced on video tomorrow, but if you are one of the winners, you'll probably get reached out to tonight by myself or one of my staff, just letting you know that you won and how you can claim the prize. But guys, listen, the only thing that I ask is that, what's up, Tim? If you're really not interested, if you win, I'm not saying you're going to win. I mean, you got to win first, but if you were to win and I was like, all right, you won $3,000 forever. If you really are not interested in doing it, then don't even enter, because you may very well win, and then it's just a waste of time to go through all that. Save it for people that really want it. And I already know a few dozen people that want it. They really want it. They're going to spend $4,000 a year no matter what. So to be able to spend $3,000 and never have to pay anything else, yeah, of course they want it. But, just make sure that if you win, you actually want it. And I'm going to address a little issue that I have once we get some more people in here. What's up, Colton? Justice, there's two answers to that. I don't email plays. You would get them on the website. So you would have an account with the site. You would log in every day. Your plays would be there. They would be detailed as to the sport, the game, the play, the time it starts, and the rating of the game, whether it's a top play, premium play, so on and so forth. When there would ever be a game of the week, month, or year, you would also have that with a full write-up of the game and all that stuff. So that's how you would get your plays. One thing that I do offer for anybody that is a one-year client or, obviously potentially a lifetime client if they win this, is you do get one-on-one service with me. You have my direct cell phone number. Obviously, everybody's got my email, but you would have my direct cell phone number. I talked to one client last night for over an hour. We talked about, the state of his bankroll right now and him making some adjustments, and that's what you get when you are a long-term customer of mine. I don't offer that for somebody that buys a 3-day or a week package, and it's no offense to them. I value them just as much, but obviously I can't talk to 500 people on the phone a day. You know what I mean? So, I look at it as if you're only buying a 3-day pass, then I've got to think this is more of a hobby than a business for you. And that's fine. But if it's that, then really, get your plays, wager them, let's make some money, follow the system, and hey, we'll keep doing it. But if you're investing the money up front to get a year, then I know that you're taking it seriously like a business, like a true second income, like you're supposed to. And then, yes, there are going to be times that you're going to want to talk to me and need to talk to me, and you have that option. I mean, we're probably not going to talk every day, as we both have lives outside of this, but no problem. Like I said, my customer texted me yesterday morning, and he was like, hey, in the next couple of days, can we talk about, he was going to make some adjustments in his bankroll going forward, based on, because he gets all my plays as a yearly client. And I was like, yeah. And, he was in no rush to talk to me right now. I said, let's just do it tonight. And I said, when I get done for the day, I'll just text you when I'm like finishing up with dinner. And I did. I had to run to my office for a few minutes last night to grab some paperwork, and I texted him. I was like, I'm ready when you are. And then, I called him, and hell, we spent what could have been a 10-minute conversation. It was an hour long. And hell, how this contest got brought up was I was actually having dinner with a client of mine. He was in town on some business, and he called me. He's like, hey, I'm be about 30 minutes from you. And I was like, let me buy you dinner. I'm going to be, when I go out to spring training next month, I'm going to be meeting some clients there. So I'm not hard to find. So how is everybody's day going? What's up, Walter? I need to check my email. I'm sure I've got 5,000 about now. Any thoughts on the McCarthy hire? I can't say that it's a bad hire. I mean, obviously Jerry Jones got what he wanted. He clearly stated that he wanted someone with a lot of NFL experience that's been in big time situations. I mean, McCarthy has the resume for it. The thing is, I think McCarthy got a bad rap. Actually, I just did, Walter, but yes, I will. Because I'll need to do it again as more people come in anyway. So, I think he got a bad rap for the way his tenure at Green Bay ended. I think that it wasn't so much him as it was the front office not taking we don't believe in analytics and all that stuff. I mean, look, in football, do I think analytics need to play as big of a part as it is in today's game? No. But you cannot just ignore them. You have to take them into account because they're proven that they are a part of today's world. It's inevitable. So for someone to be behind the times like that, the players are not okay with it. They're blaming the head coach because he's just kind of following the rules. I don't really know. I guess it remains to be seen. I think that what it's going to be is a lot of people are looking down on this hire, saying that, it's not the right thing. He screwed the pooch in Green Bay. He's going to do it in Dallas, and you watch. He'll probably win a Super Bowl. So I think the biggest the biggest mistake is the Panthers, getting rid of Ron Rivera, and now they're hiring the Baylor coach, Matt Mule, or however you pronounce his last name. Look, I like the guy, but he hasn't proven shit to me. I mean, he built a winning team in a weak conference and still really didn't prove anything other than in a world where you can win against nobody and be ranked in the top 5. He did that. He didn't win a Big 12 championship. He didn't win a national championship. All he did was build a team that had a winning record in a shitty conference. I like the guy. I think he's a good motivator. I think he's a good coach. I think he'll be successful wherever he's at, but I don't think he's Ron Rivera. I also don't think that he is going to be somebody that's going to draw NFL talent to his team. I don't think he was really, if you look, he's in the Big 12. He really wasn't drawing a lot of talent collegiately. So to think that he's going to go out there with the best in the world and be like, hey, come play for me, and this is why. Well, what are you going to say? Come play for me because I'm a nice dude? Play for me because I had a winning record at Baylor? Ooh. That's my thoughts on that. he may prove the world wrong too, and maybe he does what Ron couldn't do, and that's win a Super Bowl. Ron built a winning culture there. He was the winningest coach in the franchise. He won a division. He went to a Super Bowl. I mean, he got beat by undoubtedly one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in what was his last game. I mean, it's not like he got beat by nobody. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. What's it telling you? If it's giving you an administrative error, it's because either too many people are logging into the account or you're using too many different IP addresses. And security will flag that every time because account and information sharing in this business is one of the biggest problems. You know, people will, come in, buy a package for whatever, and then give their account information to 10 of their friends. And it's a huge, huge problem. So they'll flag it every time. I think we've talked about this before. So the thing is, like right now, unless you're buying something, you shouldn't even be logging in because no plays have been posted. You'll get an email when they're posted. And I send that email so you don't have to log in and keep checking. But until you get that email, they're not posted. So that's like I tell people, unless you're logging in to make a purchase because your current subscription is like expiring or whatever, until you get that email, you logging in does you nothing. But give me your username and I'll look at it. All right, Walter, I will break down the contest again. So what it is and how it came about was a longtime customer of mine was in town doing some business, and he called me and it was telling me, I was like, all right, well, let's grab dinner. And he's been with me for a long time, and the current subscription that he's on is ending next week. So he was like, listen, I just want to go ahead and re-sign up while I'm here. And I was like, all right, no problem. And he was like, well, give me a price. I want a lifetime subscription. And it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, I don't really know what you mean. Lifetime. I don't have a lifetime subscription. And he was like, I want to pay you one price, and I don't ever want to re-sign up again. I don't ever want to have to worry about it expiring and me not realizing that it's that time again. He goes, I just want to pay one time and get everything for forever. So I thought about it. We talked about it, and I told him, I was like, man, I can't put a price on that. I said, it's impossible. I said, because, you know, if I charge you $100,000 and you get hit by a bus next week, I said, that was just kind of $100,000 that went to nothing. I said, but then again, if I charge you $20,000 and 5 years from now, I'm sitting here going, fuck, I mean, it wasn't worth me. I mean, hell, truth be told, the $4,000 that I charged for a year, if you break it down to what it cost to sell a package like that, to what the money goes to, and then what I end up with as far as profit, it's certainly not worth me doing work for a year for what it is. But I do it because I want people on long term, because that's the only way they're going to truly succeed. But I was like, you know, it's got my wheels turning. I was like, I could probably be an industry first to do something like this. So I'm running a contest where you can go on the YouTube channel, watch today's free play video, give me the score of the Nets and Thunder game, who's going to score what, and if you are one of the 3 people that are closest to the actual score or get the score right, obviously if there's more than 3 people that get it right, I have to go off of the 3 that gave their answers first, and then retweet the little contest video link on Twitter, then you are entered. If you win, then you are able to buy a lifetime subscription for $3,000, which is $1,000 less than you would buy a year subscription for. It includes everything forever. I'm going to be bringing on a horse guy and golf guy if everything works out next month when I go to Vegas. You're going to get their stuff for free. As I bring on more cappers in the future, you're going to get their stuff. No upcharge. You get everything forever. That's the reason I'm only letting 3 people do this. But I figured it would be a cool contest to get people, you know, involved. But all I ask is that if you're really not interested in doing that, save it for the people that are. Don't enter unless you have the intentions of taking full advantage if you were to win. That's my only request. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Account sharing provision limits temporary lock. I'm going to disable it, but just remember what I said. Because they will flag you every time you do that. And if it flags you again, it's like a 24-hour lockout. And they do it just to protect us. That way, you know, like I said, we have issues where people give out information that I put out. You know, by saying like, hey, I'm going to buy it, and then give 4 of my buddies my login information, which I'm not saying you're doing that. This could be because you're using too many different devices or IP addresses. Like right now it shows 3 different IP addresses in the last 24 hours. Just try to keep that at a minimum. That way you don't have this issue. Because when it shows different IP addresses on the security and they don't know how many devices you have or anything like that, it just shows that someone else logged in. And like I said, until you get my email every day, it's not benefiting you to log in, because all you're going to do is see what was there yesterday. I send an email the second my plays are posted. And I just do that for you guys so you don't have to log in and check. I can't talk about who they are, Colton, just because they are currently with other services. One of them is just he's a contracted person that's been in the industry forever. He provides service to probably 15 different sites. Now, if he's going to come with me, that's going to stop. And we've verbally agreed to everything, but until we put it on paper, you know, I can't really say much, because if for some reason, like, I change my mind on him or anything, I wouldn't want him to screw himself from the things he already has. And the other person's kind of the same way. they're not under contracts in this industry don't hold up. I mean, they're a joke. But he had an agreement, let's say, that's over as of February 1st, and I'm not going to announce their names until everything's finalized. I've done that before in the past, announced something, and then, of course, something changes, and then it just makes me look stupid. So, but combined about 40 years experience in the industry between both of them. This is all they do. They do not do any other sports. They don't do anything. One is strictly horses. One is strictly golf. The golf guy does dabble in tennis, but he's very selective in his tennis. But he follows it very closely. And from the numbers that I've looked over, he's actually very good at it. But he focuses 99% of his time on nothing but golf, and very, very damn good at it. I've been looking into him for the past, he's not someone I had to scout for a year because, I mean, he's been in the industry longer than I have. But he has been letting me get his information prior to releasing it for the past 3 months now. And it's impressive. So I'm more than willing to pull the trigger on these guys. And they seem, I mean, one of them approached me. The other one I approached. And that was because I've had a lot of people ask about golf. So I figured, hey, if the people are out there that want it, well, why not offer it? It's not something I'm going to do. Colton, I don't really know. I mean, he does a mixture of both. I mean, I think it would probably be kind of like the same format that I do. He'll have his weekly races, but then he'll have his certain races kind of pinpoint that would be like his big step out type stuff. I don't really know. I would kind of leave that up to him because, again, he's been doing this a long time, and it's proven to work. So I'm going to kind of let him have the reins on that. As far as the golf, every major that's out there, he'll have picks on, and then of course he'll have his top status stuff. Probably won't happen every tournament, but I'm sure it'll happen often. I'm not gonna do soccer. I've made that decision. I'm not gonna do it. And like I said, the golf guy actually covers tennis. I just don't know. Before I and looking at his tennis numbers, they're phenomenal. But I would want to scout tennis for 1 full year before I allowed him to release it. Which I'm in no hurry to release tennis. But soccer is something that I'm not going to do. I think, truth be told, I don't think there's any true soccer experts out there. I mean, I've looked at soccer matches before, and I don't even know the rules to the game, and I can pick soccer for 60%. I mean, it's just, I just don't think it's worth it. I have no interest in doing it. I have no interest in trying to find somebody that truly knows it. I'm just going to leave that as it is. But the contest is out there, guys. Like I said, the only thing that I ask is that if you do not plan on taking advantage of it if you win, do not even enter. Yeah, I saw it. I told him don't watch. I told him don't watch. Colton, when I started, he approached me, and when he approached me, I knew his name, so started looking into it. I asked him for some information and everything, and when he sent it to me, he's like, "Well, hey," he said, because I told him, And this was back in like late October. And I told him, I was like, man, I'm gonna be having a really big 2 weeks ahead of me, really busy, so I probably won't review this information for a couple weeks. And he was like, yeah, it's no problem, but what I'm gonna do is in that time, we've got some horse races coming up, I'm gonna send you the information of what I'm doing now. He goes, that way if you want to take advantage of making yourself some money off of it, you can. And that way I don't have to go back and resend you this stuff later on. You just can go ahead and add it to what you've got. So I took a chance and started betting some of it. And I was pleasantly surprised. Or not pleasantly surprised. I was pleased with it because of, I made a good bit. But again, he has a big name in this industry. And when I started looking at it, then I asked for his financials, of like what he does, how he tells people to do stuff. He decided that he decided to send me his actual financial records with tickets of what he's done. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. I'm excited to have him on board. Yeah, Matt, I just wish that I could have been on the right side of the the win on that one. We got some good conference action tonight. One that I just want, there was one player in question from his last game, not a major injury or anything. He had been dealing with cramps and he had been dealing with dizziness. I don't know what it was from. I don't know if he had just been sick. So I know that he practiced yesterday. Full practice, no issues. But anything can happen day to day because he was still being monitored. So obviously I wanted to get the report for today before, making a final decision on something. And I probably won't get a practice report until about 2 o'clock. I wouldn't think. Because they're probably doing their practice about now. Colton, I don't think so. I think Maryland's the real deal. And I said that going into the season where obviously we knew they had the talent. I think you and I actually talked about that. And we knew the talent was there. How are they going to gel with the team? You know, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And I said going into the season, I said if they gel together, I think Maryland is a true contender. I think that they will be a tournament team. I think that they could make a run at the Big Ten. And I think we're looking at what could be a true contender for it all. I still wholeheartedly believe that. You want my true opinion? Let's say that Ohio State and Maryland both play lights out tonight. I say Maryland's the better team in this matchup. Obviously, you're going to give them a couple of points for being at home. Maryland's going to be rowdy tonight. This has become a decent rivalry now that Maryland has some years under their belt in the Big Ten. I still think Maryland should be an ACC team. Yes, Keith, you're still eligible. But now that, you know, we've got some years under our belt in the Big Ten, this Ohio State-Maryland thing has become a big rivalry. It's really not that far. Maryland's bordering West Virginia. You cross over into Ohio pretty easy. It's not, you know, it's not like College Park and Columbus are that close. But, you know, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a sold-out crowd. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a whiteout. And I think that talent for talent, Maryland has more talent. Ohio State has more experience, which makes Ohio State more dangerous. But you throw in home, you throw in speed, you throw in just how everything's gone the past couple of weeks. Both teams play lights out. Maryland -2. I think it's fair. I think it should be 3. I think we're getting better line, playing $1.25 on the money line for them to win outright. But I'm telling you right now, if Maryland comes in there and tries to get cute, I can promise you Ohio State will be the team to expose them and make them regret it. That's a fact. But if they go out there and they play to win, just like I think Ohio State's coming to win, I say Maryland's got the edge tonight. We want to give a percentage on it. I think it's 60-40 Maryland's way. Analyze the Syracuse Virginia Tech game. Okay. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because I got that game circled for tonight. Not saying I will have a play on it, but it's possible. But let's go over it. So in this game, Maryland-Syracuse, let's talk about the obvious first, and then we'll get into maybe what some people aren't looking at. The obvious is that Syracuse is at home, and the Carrier Dome is not an easy place to play. Never has been. It never will be. And you also have Jim Boeheim. Oh, I get you, Tommy. I didn't know what you were talking about. Hall of Fame coach. One of the winningest coaches of all time. Somebody that knows how to methodically break a team down. What are the flaws in that this year? Syracuse is young again. Syracuse is having a lot of issues in the sense of carelessness. Yes. But anyway, they're careless. The other day I said I like Syracuse on the live show over Notre Dame. A lot of people didn't like that. I got emails about it. Well, we see how what I said about it came true. Syracuse, in my system, I've got Syracuse ranked at 62 overall. They're in a top 100 team. Now, I've got Virginia Tech, which, mind you, Virginia Tech was rated by all of the experts in the country. Your ESPNs, they fired their head coach. I think their assistant coach or something is going to take over as interim for right now. They should. They're one of the most talented teams in the NHL, and they can't win. They can't win anything. Anyway, back to Virginia Tech, Syracuse. Virginia Tech, by ESPN, by Yahoo, by CBS, by the ACC network. Oh, my two favorite guys, Packer and Durham. If anybody's ever watched or listened to their show, those are the two biggest fucking jacklegs on the face of sports talk radio. They are the two biggest nimrods that I have ever listened to in my life. They don't even know the rules to basketball. And that's not me saying that because they're just not smart. They don't know the rules to the game. And they say coming into the year, of course, they just go off of what they hear from their cohorts over at ESPN. They said, Virginia Tech, full rebuild. They'll be the little sister of the state. They going to finish dead last in the ACC, let me tell you. Ha! Jesus, God in heaven. So, everybody says this. A few days before the season starts, I go live. I remember it very vividly because Walter and Colton both were in this chat. Keith as well, if I'm not mistaken. And I told everybody that Maryland was projected to finish bottom of the top 10, not dead last, but towards the bottom. Ohio State was projected to finish middle of the pack. Penn State was projected to finish dead last. And in the ACC, Virginia Tech was expected to finish dead last. Following it up with Notre Dame, and that Clemson was supposed to finish fourth. It was going to be Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson. That's the predictions from the experts. So I come in here and I say, well, I can't tell you who's going to win each conference. I can make my predictions. My predictions for the Big Ten. Michigan State has the best team, but I don't think that they're going to be the best team at the end of it. I really truthfully and still to this day believe that Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten due to experience. I think that the team with the most promise and potential is Maryland. And I think the team that should win is Michigan State. We get into the ACC. I said Virginia Tech's going to surprise everyone. Pitt's going to finish dead last. If they don't finish dead last, they'll finish runner-up to it, and Clemson will be dead last. What's up, Scott? And a lot of people didn't agree with me. Well, we see now that Virginia Tech's making a run. Clemson's an absolute bottom feeder with a coach that I don't even know how he got the job. You wear plaid suits. That coach looks like the first guy your mom dates after a divorce, and he comes in to give you the talk of, I just want to be your friend. I'm not trying to replace your dad. No, hey, that's fine. Like, Scott disagrees. I mean, listen, I'm a Tar Heel. So, but I also live in reality. The best coach in the Big Ten is in East Lansing. The team that should win it all in the Big Ten is in East Lansing. The most talent, and again, I'm taking an experience, especially down low in the paint. Ohio State's got the edge. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. The team that has the most talent with potential, but the reason you're not seeing it all right now is because of inexperience, is Maryland. It's just a fact. So we get into this matchup between Virginia Tech and Syracuse. The edge goes to Virginia Tech because they have nothing to prove. You think it's going to be a letdown for them to get beat by a team that's better than them? No. It's almost like LSU Oklahoma. Did anybody expect Oklahoma to beat LSU? No. So you leave it all out on the field. You have nothing to lose. And that's what we have with Virginia Tech this year. They just leave it all out on the court. They're going to pull some big upsets, which they already have. Syracuse, though, the edge that they have tonight, here's the way I break it down. If you want to break this down, take home court out of it and take coaching out of it, and just we're going to talk about the 5 starters. I say this team, I say Virginia Tech by 1 because I think that they've got it in them to do it. Now, let's bring in home court. Not only are you going to give home court, you're talking about the Carrier Dome. That's worth an extra half point. Now you bring in Jim Boeheim and his coaching staff. Hall of Fame. Now I think the line should be 6 in favor of Syracuse. What do we got right now? 4.5? I think the line's accurate. I do. Haven't broke down a practice report yet. If you had a gun to my head right now, right this very moment, and said bet this game, I'd bet the under 136. Just my initial thoughts. I have no money on it. Don't know that I will. I'm going to look for every reason under the sun to take Syracuse tonight because I love taking Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. But if the numbers aren't there, the numbers aren't there. It's about as deep into that game as I'm going to get just because I may actually have a play in that game, depending on, what transpires. And here's another thing. Like we talk about Michigan State. We talk about these teams that shoulda, coulda, woulda. Michigan State's the biggest choke artist that's ever been a top team. I'm sorry, but they are. Scott, don't kill me for saying that. Michigan State comes in year after year after year after year, number 1 seed, number 1 overall, undoubtedly the favorite to win. They've been the most lopsided favorite to win the national championship in the last 10 years. And guess what? They screw themselves regular season. They make it to the tournament. And then what do? They get beat. And they get beat. It's not like they got bad luck. They get beat. I have a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who I'm actually going to see next week. We're going to go to a hockey game together. He's from Detroit. He went to Michigan State, and he said this year, he's like, hey, are you going to go to the Final Four in Atlanta? I said, I would like to, just to do it. Been before, and I want to do it again. I said, well, I guess it'll depend my final decision if the Tar Heels make it. Obviously, we're looking at a team that is far from able to make it at this point. And he's like, I've already set aside the money, and if Michigan State makes it, I'm going. And I said, that'll be great. I said, but if history repeats itself, Michigan State will go in as a number 1 seed, and they'll get kicked out in Sweet 16. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's why I haven't, spent any money yet. All right, what did I miss here? Keith Davis, the big man's experience is a difference maker for Ohio State. What happened to the Raging Cajuns? They should have covered. They couldn't cover minus 14. I don't know. I mean, that's funny. Like, I had somebody the other day. I don't remember what it was. We were talking about something on the live show, and I had given my opinion on a game. And I even told everybody, I was like, I don't have money on it. I won't have money on it. It's just an opinion. And I was on the wrong side of it. And they sent me this fucking long email. And they were like, what happened? Yada, yada, yada. I said, I don't know, man. I said, I didn't have any money on it. And they're like, oh, well, you told me to play. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I told you flat out I would not put my hard-earned money on the game, and here's the reasons why. I said, but you asked for an opinion. I gave it to you. I said, it's your fault you played it. And then he's like, well, I want to know what happened, Mr. Expert. And I just told him. I looked up the phone number to the university's athletic department, and I said, call them. Ask them what happened. I said, because I don't play for the team. I didn't hear anything back from him after that. You know what, Matt? That game right there, Penn State versus Rutgers. You may have not been in here at the very, very beginning of the episode. I didn't break the game down, but we were just going over like some games that were on. That's probably my second favorite game on the card. I'm not saying that is like, oh, betting-wise. If there's any game that I would want to sit down and watch tonight, that's in the top two. Tommy, saying that no one gets injured, because that would be the only thing that I think could be a big killer. I can't. I have no reason to fade Baltimore. I've got to say Baltimore. But again, that's saying that because at this point, there is no more, hey, let's sit Lamar Jackson out and let's do this. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is where you need to be really, really careful when you're going in and betting these games, especially involving the Niners and the Ravens. You're not going to have to worry about it with the Titans because the Titans aren't going to the Super Bowl. But that head coach isn't – I mean, he's a fucking meathead. I know him. I mean, I like the guy, but he's a meathead. He's not a head coach. He's a football dude. That's a good coaching staff for the Niners and for the Ravens. So let's be hypothetical for a second. Let's say that Baltimore goes in and builds a 3-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter, maybe midway through the third. Don't think for any second, if the defense is playing well, that they will not pull Lamar or pull Garoppolo and choose to win by a touchdown versus multiples, just to not only give them a little more rest, but to take them off the field and not risk anything that they don't have to. Think about it. You go out there, you're playing with all the emotion of a playoff game, maybe a semifinals game, something like that. Lamar's out there just freaking chopping you up. Garoppolo's out there throwing bullets, just chopping you up. They're up by 3 touchdowns going into the fourth, and now they're just making a scene of you. And then your offensive line slips up one play. Now you got a 350-pound defensive lineman coming, and he just fucking hammers you. Now we've got Tua number 2 over here with a dislocated hip. Still win the game, but now you got to go to the Super Bowl without Lamar, without Garoppolo. Not only do you not have the player, now you have a team that doesn't know how to play without them. Think about it, guys. Harbaugh's good enough to know, hey, mathematically, I don't think this team can win. Lamar, come here. They're pissed off. I don't want you out there in the middle of it. Let's just hang on for 15 more minutes because, again, we don't have to win by a certain amount to go to the Super Bowl. We just have to win. Think about that, guys. I think I'm going to have a play in both of these games this weekend. But I'm going to be smart about it. Don't think that that's not going to be in the back of my head with every decision that I make. Now, when you get to the Super Bowl, you're not going to worry about that. Just like you get to the national championship and you've got LSU and you've got Clemson. You've got Joe Burrow, who is undoubtedly probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. If he wins the national championship, you might as well lock it in. It's a done deal. Miami's going to go, or Cincinnati's going to go in, and boom, they got him. 2 will probably end up in Miami because Miami gets 3 first-round picks this year. But do you think Joe Burrow, if he's up by 14 with 5 minutes to go that he's not going to be in that game? No. Because this might be the biggest thing he ever wins. A good bit throughout the year, Scott. NFL especially. Matt Bailey, I hate to break it to you. Patrick Mahomes is not near as good as people give him credit for. He's good. He is. He's a very talented athlete. But he's not better than Lamar. He's not better than Garoppolo. Hell, I don't think that he'll ever be a Brady, a Rodgers, or a Breeze. I like Patrick Mahomes. I really do. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. He would be one of those guys that never won a Super Bowl, and it wouldn't surprise me. I think he's good enough to win one. I just don't think it's right now. I don't think he's on a good enough team. Who's a better passer? Who's got a stronger arm? Mahomes. Who's got a better arm? Jackson. Jackson's got an arm just like Michael Vick had. He throws like a sidearm pitcher. Here's the thing. I've said all year that I think San Francisco's a tad bit smoke and mirrors. That's fine, man. It's fun to disagree sometimes. I've also got to look at football IQ. I take into a lot of accounts of who I think is better. That's why Brady is not only the best to ever do it, or he's been the best over his tenure in the NFL. He's been better than anybody ever. I think that Jimmy G is a very smart quarterback. I also think that, truth be told, arm strength, dude might have the strongest arm in the league besides Dak Prescott, which Dak Prescott throws too hard. I've said that 1,000 times. I think Patrick Mahomes is very, very talented, but I think Patrick's one of those guys that if he was forced to stand in the pocket and be a true quarterback for 4 quarters, Jimmy G had to do the same thing. Lamar had to do the same thing. I don't think Patrick Mahomes comes out on top in that. I think Aaron Rodgers is the second best of all time. I don't think Mahomes has a lot of targets either. That's why I go back to my statement of I don't think he's on a good enough team right now to win the Super Bowl. Again, I think he's good enough to win one. He's not good enough to put a team on his back and be the only reason they won one. But he's damn sure good enough. Right now, you could throw Patrick Mahomes on any playoff, like Super Bowl contender, and he certainly ain't going to make them no worse. And he could run with it and win one. But that's just like Brady. Brady is still probably, he had the worst year of his life with accuracy. Go look at how accurate he was throwing into double coverage and threading, the eye of a needle in some situations. And he had no targets. He had Julian Edelman. That's it. And let's be honest, I was still impressed the fact that they made postseason, even if it was wild card. Do I think the Cowboys make playoffs next year with McCarthy? I don't know, man. I just think that you spend, record-breaking money on freaking Ezekiel Elliott. Feed him the ball. I don't think Jason Garrett's the reason they didn't go to the playoffs this year. I think that Dak's part of the problem, and I just think that it's a very poorly run franchise with a lot of talent. They make a lot of money. I think they need a true GM. I think they need a head coach that is willing to be the football guy, be the guy. I don't want to say Bill Belichick because you can't compare anyone to Bill Belichick. But like say Sean Payton, put him in the let him be the genius and let somebody else down the way feed him analytics that means something to him. The talent's there. The only piece of that offense that I think is not only overvalued but overrated, and I think that it'll be sorely overpaid when the time comes, I think is Dak Prescott. I do not think Dak Prescott is an elite level quarterback. I have never thought Carson Wentz was. I will stand by that. I do not think Carson Wentz is an elite quarterback. I've never thought it. I don't know that he could do anything to make me change my mind. $32. You listen. You say Tom Brady's not good enough anymore. Tom Brady could sit in a wheelchair and outdo 90% of the league. I mean, Brady could literally throw 100 passes next year. Every one of them could be an interception, and he's still the best quarterback there ever was. And he's also the smartest quarterback there ever was. The only quarterback that I'm going to put up there with him as far as smart quarterback is probably Peyton Manning, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers. But a lot of people say, no, Peyton was a better one. No, he wasn't. And he also wasn't as smart as Brady. Brady can read a defense better than anyone that's ever been. And that's what makes him so special. Peyton's up there with him. I think he's a close second. But I just, again, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Brady fan, though. But I didn't, fall out of the van one day and be like, oh, I want to be a Brady fan because he's good. I was so intrigued Brady year after year after year that I became a fan because of his greatness. He wasn't on a cheating team like the Patriots. Say they cheat all they want. I don't think they did Deflategate. Maybe they did Spygate number 1. Maybe. Let's say they did. I don't think Brady did it. I don't think it would have changed anything for Brady's performance. Brady still had to go out there and execute. And I don't think they did anything this time. And here's the thing. Let's take a Super Bowl from them. Say they cheated one year and that's why they won the Super Bowl. What about the other 5? Yeah, Jerry Jones may be one of the greatest owners ever in sports, but he needs to be that. Jennifer Ashbridge 514C. Oh, you mean this? Does that bother you? Well, when I get to the point in life where I care, you'll be the first to know. I'm not stifling papers. I'm sitting here reading information on one side of the screen, and if you notice, I have every game for today right here, and I make little notes beside it as I go. If that's not okay with you, and the mic picks it up, oh well. It can't possibly drive you that nuts. You are taking about different subjects, and every time you shuffle those papers, you don't talk about one topic regarding those papers. What do you want me to talk about? Notes? What do you want me to talk about? Little notes that I've written beside a game as information comes through? I'm talking about topics that people bring up. That's what this show is for. People ask questions, I answer them. Nobody's even asking you to be here. If you don't want to be here, then don't. I love how people come in here, take time out of their day to say negative shit like it's going to bother me. Obviously, it bothers you, so why are you here? Oh, I can stop him right now. I just don't like being that guy. And I wonder that that's not a troll with a username like that. Yeah, speaking of making money, I'm going to bring up something here in a second. And it's going to be about someone, but it's probably going to surprise a lot of you that it's certainly not bad on my end. But it's something that I have to address. I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's a great coach. I really, really, truly do. I really, really do. I think Ben Roethlisberger is, if you want to talk about somebody washed up and old, Big Ben. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I think he's a great motivator. He's good with the public. I think he's smart. He knows how to keep his mouth shut when he needs to. He knows how to speak up when he needs to and do it in a way that a professional should. I agree with that. If Tomlin was fired, he wouldn't have to look for a job. And I know it sounds bad. I was hoping Mike Tomlin would have gotten fired a couple of years ago, because I can promise you if he would have, before Matt Nagy got hired, Chicago would have picked him up. And I think he still would have gone out there and gotten Mitchell Trubisky, and I think they'd be sitting in the playoffs right now. Big Ben's washed up. That dude's never healthy. I'm not saying washed up as in, like, I think you're taking that the wrong way. I don't mean that as in he's not talented anymore. Big Ben's got natural God-given football ability that will always be there until he just can't move anymore. He is a ticking time bomb. He's old, he's washed up, and he's broken. No, they wouldn't. Because Mike Tomlin would get quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson's not a quarterback. Deshaun Watson's a glorified running back with a strong arm that throws complete and utter garbage into thin air and has the greatest receiver in football catch it. No, Matt, I would too, absolutely. What I'm saying is I wouldn't expect Big Ben to come out and, like, rise up from the ashes and win another Super Bowl. And that's just because I don't think that physically he has that ability anymore, because you got to think how big the dude is. So, truth be told, I know it sounds weird to say that he's more fragile than a Rodgers or a Breeze or a Brady, but he is. He can't stay in shape like those guys can at 40. You know what I mean? He's big. His body, he's carried that weight around all that time. His knees, his hips, his ankles. He's broken. And it's because of football. It's not because he's done anything wrong. It's like Matthew Stafford. God bless that man. If he lives to be 60, I'll be surprised. When he retires, he's going to go sit down one off season. Yes, I would rather have Mitch than Deshaun. I would rather have just about anybody than Deshaun. Deshaun is not a quarterback, and Deshaun is the most overrated quarterback in the league. You tell me, like, Deshaun now is just getting cocky, and the only thing that he does that is remotely credible is shake off a defender. I'm sorry. Mitchell Trubisky's nothing to fucking brag about, but he's a quarterback. He knows how he is a passer. That's what a quarterback is. Deshaun Watson was a good college quarterback, which nowadays quarterbacks in college are running backs. Lamar Jackson's a running back. He just is. Lamar Jackson took Louisville to national championship heights by himself. Deshaun Watson has the best receiver in the game, just like when he was in college. Sammy Watkins, Ellington, the person he's playing with now, plucking his garbage out of thin air. Here's a fun fact for you. Deshaun Watson threw more interceptions his senior year than any other BCS level quarterback did that year. And that was the year he won a national championship. More interceptions. You know why? Because he's not a quarterback. Deshaun Watson will never be the reason a team wins a Super Bowl. If he stays with Houston and they keep hiring coaching staffs like they do, we don't have to worry about Houston doing anything. But people give Deshaun Watson all the praise. You know why? Because nobody was allowed to talk bad about him and point out facts while he was in college because he played under Dabo Swinney. And then they just had to listen to him yap. So that's carried over into the NFL. He was this humble, quiet guy when he got here. He's kind of mouthy now. And I hadn't seen Deshaun Watson do anything that makes me go, oh my God, we are looking at greatness. Look at Lamar Jackson. It's like sometimes you can't even believe what you just saw. Mitch is not trash. Mitch is a QB. He is the definition of one. Now, I'm not saying, and listen, I you hate Watson and Mahomes. I don't hate Mahomes. I love Mahomes. I'm just stating facts. And here's the thing. I don't love Mitchell Trubisky. I think he's got a lot of flaws. But if you look at what a quarterback is designed to do, Mitchell Trubisky is the poster child for it. Just like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Those guys are quarterbacks. It's not an agreed to disagree thing. That's a fact. Deshaun Watson is a very athletic and talented individual, but he's not a quarterback. And Mitchell Trubisky is not bad. He's not great. But if you look at his stats just from last season alone, he's got talent. This season, you got to think, okay, he goes out there. He's an accurate passer. He has a game plan set up by Matt Nagy designed to work with Mitchell Trubisky. It works. They take him away from it. They want Mitchell Trubisky to have to run. What happens? He's not designed to do that because he's a quarterback. He gets hurt. Then he goes, when he comes back, he has a hurt shoulder, and he throws the ball 41 times with a hurt shoulder and elbow. Oh, that's genius, because we would expect anybody to be able to, while dealing with injury, be able to use what's injured. I'm just saying, I'm not defending Mitch. I think Mitch has a lot of work to do. I'm not defending the Bears. I think the Bears played like absolute dog shit this year. But it's not Mitch's fault. It's Matt Nagy's fault for changing the system that SOB built. I'll make you a bet right now, brother. I bet Mitchell Trubisky's still in the NFL when Watson's not. Watson will get hurt because he runs too damn much. He will be like Taj Boyd doing used car commercials in the upstate of South Carolina before it's all over with. How many truly, truly mobile quarterbacks do you know have made a long-term successful run in the NFL? Truly successful. Throw Michael Vick in the mix, maybe. But he didn't win a Super Bowl, so we asterisk by successful. You got Russell Wilson. Nobody else has done anything yet. No, Mitch is healthy now. That was like when he came back, everybody's like, oh, Mitch is terrible. Look at him. He shouldn't be throwing. First of all, he shouldn't have been in the game. Now you're not using your running backs and your tight ends to your advantage, but you want him to throw the long ball every time. I understand it's 2020, and that's why we have mobile quarterbacks. Still doesn't change the fact that they're not the ones winning Super Bowls, except for Russell Wilson. Cam Newton didn't win a Super Bowl. Cam Newton barely played this year. I love Cam Newton, one of the most athletic people I've ever watched. But again, what's he done? Bingo, Keith. The point that I keep trying to make. He won't make it. He runs too much. It's not his fault. That's who he is. And in college, that will work. It will work. But in the NFL, that don't work. That don't work when you have the best defenders on the planet coming to kick your ass. That's a fact. That's why you see people like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. Those are the guys that not only win championships, but they're the ones that go down in history as the best to ever do it. There's one truly mobile quarterback, and he wasn't mobile more than he was a pocket passer. Steve Young. Do I think that Cam Newton is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky? Probably. But I think Cam Newton is a better quarterback than most mobile quarterbacks. I think that Tim Tebow was a talent that the NFL screwed. Aaron's a scrambler. He's not a runner. Scrambling is different. Everybody's got to scramble from time to time. But if you talk about a quarterback that takes off and runs, somebody that makes plays with their legs, and not when they have to make it, they design plays to do that. There's plenty of them out there today. You have Russell Wilson, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Deshaun Watson, you have all these guys out there. You've had it. It gets worse and worse every year with how many there are. But look at those guys, look at their lifespan in the NFL, and look at the success rate of those guys versus someone who reads defenses, stands in the pocket, and does what a QB is designed to do. And I'm sorry, I don't think Mitch is an elite quarterback. I think that people are thinking that that's what I think. I don't think that. I'm saying that he's a quarterback. He is someone that was drafted and is designed to read the defense and throw the ball. Will he take off running? Yeah, everybody will take off running. You put 10 yards of open air in front of you and you don't have a wide open man, yeah, it would be stupid not to do so. But Trubisky doesn't want to run. He doesn't look for opportunities to run versus throw. Your Watsons and your Jacksons and those guys, they do. But let me tell you something. If Lamar had to stand in the pocket every single play, do you think that he would be as good as he is? No. You think Russell Wilson would? No. Deshaun Watson? No. He wouldn't even be here. That's what the point I'm trying to make. Not anymore, Matt, but go back and look at his early years. He was a running quarterback, and he had to be because he wasn't tall enough. Even back in his Wisconsin days, he was like his height was a disadvantage, and he was able to be mobile and do that. He gets in there with Seattle. He has to still be a mobile quarterback. Now that he's developed over the years and they've been able to develop a team around him, he has been able to become what Pete Carroll wanted, what he needs to be. That's also allowed him to have longevity. No, they won't be extinct. They'll be fewer and farther between, which they are now. But I still think they'll be the ones that last the longest and are the most successful. Right, and you're right about that. That's true. And the thing is, had it not been for someone like Pete Carroll that understood that as well, I don't think Russell Wilson would be here today. He's small. He's a small guy. It's not his fault that he's small. It's the way it is. I'll tell you this. Anybody tell me the last true quarterback out of Clemson University that actually had a successful NFL career? Now, granted, he didn't win Super Bowls. He wasn't a starter, but I mean, hell, as a backup and a practice guy, he had a long career. And he was the last true quarterback to come out of that university. I'll go ahead and tell you. It's Charlie Whitehurst. Remember Taj Boyd? He was going to be the second coming of Christ. He was awful. But he had Sammy Watkins and Ellington. He had those guys downfield plucking his garbage out of thin air, and he was also going up against the worst defenses in all of college football. He gets to the NFL. He gets showed that his little sweet maneuvers that he can do in the ACC in college don't work. He gets cut from team after team, from second string, from practice squad to everything. Goes to CFL, gets cut from there. Used car commercials. He don't make it in the NFL. Deshaun is light years ahead of what Taj Boyd could have ever prayed to be. But I don't think he has a long-lasting, successful career in front of him. I know they want him to be the franchise quarterback, and I think he'll be it until one day where his leg is laying 50 yards from his body. Boyd sucked. Boyd was nothing more than a... I'm not even going to get started on him. He's trash. He was trash in college. He just had people making him look good. No, hell no. Watson is Tom Brady compared to Taj Boyd. All right, let's do this. I got to piss real quick, and I'm going to get some more coffee. Let's do a free play. And then I got to go over something real quick. I've got to address something, and I'm going to bring up some drama, but I'm going to put it to bed with what I've got to say. So stick around for it. You'll like it. It'll probably surprise you guys, but I've got to say it because I know the person that I'm having to address this for is probably watching this. He's not going to come in the chat, not after the conversation him and I had, but I'm sure he's watching. And he needs to hear this because not only did I tell him, but I'm going to make it public now so nothing gets twisted. I think it was a good debate today, Matt, right? He had C.J. Spiller, and then following C.J. Spiller, he had Sammy Watkins. Which Sammy Watkins was probably one of the best I've ever seen to ball goes up in the air. Watkins is way over here. He finds a way to get to it, pluck it out of thin air, and run in for a touchdown. Oh, Taj Boyd just broke another record. No, Taj Boyd is an idiot. Taj Boyd just threw it to the fucking towel boy. Sammy Watkins just went and got it. All right. Matt, you run the chat for a minute. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and we'll do a free play, and I'll address this. We'll go over the contest one more time, and then I'm wrapping it up. Be right back. Let's chase. All right, sorry guys, I got a phone call as I was walking out, so I had to take that. Let me see if anything's changed. I'll tell y'all what, since I see that y'all are discussing some NFL action, what do you guys want a free play in? You guys want a free play in, or like a look ahead lean in one of the NFL games? You want to do something for today? What do you guys want to do? Chad, I don't think I have you blocked on Twitter. I don't know that I have anybody blocked on Twitter. How do I see if I do? Hold on. If I have you blocked, it is 100% a mistake on my end. Because I can't think of a time where I've ever blocked anybody. Not even people that I should have blocked. I don't know how to see that. I'm seeing a bunch of NHLs, what everybody wants. We had another NHL winner last night. Only played one game. Columbus. Easy money line minus 105 winner over the Kings. Let me look at the NHL line, see if anything's changed from this morning when I was going over it. Do 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 do. There's only one that I've got circled right now. I think I may save that one because if it's the only NHL play I'm going to play today, I've got to save that one for my clients. Let me look at these other lines real quick, see what's changed and what hasn't changed, and we'll get a free play out there. Chad, if I did, man, I'm sorry. I didn't. It wasn't on purpose. Tell me how I fix it. Where do you even see if you have someone blocked? I've never purposefully gone in and blocked anyone. So I don't know how to even see. And I've got it on my computer right here. Like, what's your Twitter name? Okay, Chad. Okay, hold on. Let me look up something real quick. No, you're not blocked, brother. It doesn't say you're following me. But I can even screenshot this and send it to you. I don't have you blocked. Now, I know Twitter is really weird about stuff because, like, even if, like, me and you were just joking around and you were like, hey, I'm going to kick your ass, whatever, like, they're really weird about stuff like that. And I'm not saying you did that. I'm just saying. All right, before I give out a free play, let me go and address something real quick that needs to be addressed. Hold on, let me plug this thing in. All right. So, yesterday, I got an email. I actually got the email Sunday night late. But I got to it yesterday. There's a guy that's been following me for a while. I don't know if it's been on YouTube or whatever. But he sends me an email. And he said, yeah, and Chad, if you see something, send me whatever you got. Because on my end, it's not showing that. Maybe it's something I need to look at on my phone. I don't know. I'll look at it in a minute. He had sent me an email, and he was talking about, he's like, hey, I've been following you for X amount of time, whatever. Really like your style, like what you do. Want to go ahead and jump on a package. And he asked a question about like a week or a month or something, whatever. So I answered his question. A few hours later, he sends me back another email. He's like, that sounds great. I'm going to sign up as soon as I get home. But it's going to be late, so does it count towards my dad's? Like, nope. You know, you'll sign up. You know, if you sign up early enough, you might still catch one of the late games, but I'll start your days the following day. That way it doesn't count against you. So then he sends me back another email. Everybody knows in here, and Jeremy, I care if I block him. It's an open discussion, man. So everybody knows who I used to be affiliated with. Not scared to say the name. I used to be with Ghost Picks. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that when Ghost Picks, first launched and they came into fruition, it was me and Jimmy. Everybody knows that. And then throughout time, Jimmy had brought on Jack, Derek, and Benny. And I was with them for a good while. I resigned back in June. There had been talks. I had thought about leaving before. I had decided not to. I didn't, for a long time, even though I thought it may be time, I didn't want to. But the contract that we had ended in April. I hung on for a little while longer. I came to the realization that it was time. And it wasn't, I know everybody has their, the way they think about things. People love drama. So they think that it's, I left because I hate him or he hates me or, we got into it or anything like that. And I've told people 1,000 times. So that's not the reason. The reason is it was just time for me to move on. Him and I saw things differently in certain situations. There are certain things we saw the same thing on. But it was doing him no favors and me no favors on both sides for us to have different thoughts about certain things, have two different visions, and we're essentially going in two different directions. And I just kind of decided to do the inevitable. It was time for me to move on and separate myself and do my own thing. It had nothing to do with my personal feelings towards him or to any of the guys. Listen, guys, I'm not scared to speak my mind. I have no problem chiming in and saying what I truly feel. So if I did not like the guy, I would say it. You guys have never heard me be malicious towards any of those guys. Hell, you've heard me give them love. For many different things on many different occasions. And I will continue to do so. Do him and I agree with everything? No. That's to be expected. Do I have love for the guy? Yeah. Will we ever work under the same roof again? No. I doubt it. Will we in the future maybe team up, put out a big play, do something? I like to think so. I don't know if it'll happen or not. But anyway, this person sent me this email and he was like, sorry you had to deal with that fucking asshole. He's this, he's that. Just started fucking railing him. And then he brought up, he was like, he always wants to run that mouth about how a big bad military man he is. He needs to shut up about this. Who cares that you went over there and played in the sand for a year and all this stuff? So that pissed me off. That really, really pissed me off. But I didn't let him know that at first. I just said, hey, man, I've got a deal on a package. Shoot me your phone number. It's easier to explain over the phone, and then you can sign up. What I was doing was I wanted to talk to him over the phone so he could hear my voice, and I wanted to prevent him from buying a package before I had the chance to talk to him. He's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Here's my phone number. So a few hours later, I called him, and this was yesterday. He answered the phone. I told him who I was, and he was like, oh, yeah, man, what's up, what's up? And so we start talking for a minute. I kind of let him get into it, and he was like, yeah, man, so glad you went out on your own. Fuck Jimmy, all this stuff. And so I was like, what do you have against the guy, man? I said, it sounds like you got something against him, not me. So what do you have against the guy? And why are you telling me about it? Because I don't care. And he was like, then he starts just talking, and he was like, man, you don't need to deal with that. And he's like, I ain't got no respect for people that want to brag about being in the military and all this stuff. And I said, I've never heard him brag about being in the military. I've heard him mention it, but that's not bragging. That's just stating a fact. You were in the military. And he went on, and I said, but man, why? I said, what if he did brag? I said, I think he's earned the right to do so. I said, because he did something that you sure weren't willing to do. I said, unless you're just in the military. I said, but by the way you're talking, I highly doubt it. And he goes, no, I wasn't in the military. I'm not fighting for Donald Trump. Then you just know how stupid this human being is. And I said, man, let me tell you something. I said, I'm gonna say this one time. You better listen, because I'm going to make myself very clear when I say it. I said, despite the fact that I don't work with him anymore, I said, let me be first about something. I don't hate the guy. I've never hated him. I said, the worst thing I can say about him is that him and I didn't agree on some things. I said, now, I don't think he likes me. That's fine. That doesn't change the way I sleep at night. There are plenty of people in this world that I'm sure don't like me. And, half the reasons are probably stupid. But that's fine. I'm not here to make everyone like me. But I was like, let me tell you something. I said, I don't hate the guy. I got love for the guy. I said, but even if I did not like him, I said, he'll always have my respect for what he did for this country. I said, because if the draft came back tomorrow, No, this isn't giving him my energy. This is me making something very clear to everyone. And I'm not pointing you out by any means. So if anybody was ever thinking about doing this, you'll think again before you send it to me. I said, he's always got my respect for what he did for this country. I said, if the draft came back tomorrow, and I said, we'd be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle if they sent your ass over there. Have the attitude you have. I said he was willing to do what you aren't willing to do, what I wasn't willing to do, what 99% of people aren't willing to do and are too scared to do, so that you have the freedom to send me emails bashing someone for it. I said, don't you ever, ever, ever contact me again. I said, I do not want you buying my service. I said, I do not want you watching my videos, following me on social media. I said, I wouldn't want your money if you wanted to hand me $1 million today. I said, I think you're scum. I said, if anything, you don't have to like the guy, but he deserves your respect for fighting for you and people like you. That's all I got to say about it. Everybody thinks that I hate the guy. I don't hate him. Got love for him. I don't even dislike the guy. I don't think he likes me. That's fine. Again, I don't sleep any differently. But don't ever, ever come at me disrespecting him for what he did for this country. Or anybody that has served this country for that matter. Him, Jack, I don't think the other two guys were ever in the military, but anybody. So if any of you ever served, thank you for your service. You have the utmost respect from me, whether I like you or not. You will always have it for that. And I know, again, everybody thinks I dislike him. I don't. We just didn't see eye to eye on some things. That's why I just moved on, and I'm doing what I'm doing now. I hope that he is successful from now until the end of time. I really do. I don't want his company to go anywhere. I don't want him to fail in anything. But I can tell you this, even if I didn't like the guy, motherfucker would always have my goddamn respect for what the hell he did for this country. Him and all of the brave men and women that have done it, are doing it, or will do it in the future. So that guy was like, well, I didn't mean it like that. I said, you meant it how you said it. I said, if anything, you should call him right now, tell him that you're sorry for being a human piece of shit, and kiss his ass for what he did for you. Because he did it willingly. He didn't have to be told to do it. And that right there, that makes a man out of somebody. Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks I don't like the guy. It's just not true. And people say, oh, he hates you too. That may be the case. That's fine. Again, I don't wake up every day going, how can I make someone that dislikes me like me again? It is what it is. I can't live my life like that. But I can promise you that even if the dude, hated my guts more than anybody in the world, that's not going to change my feeling. And it's certainly not going to change the admiration that I have for him for what he's done for this country. Yep, sure is. Yep, the 5 for 50 ended at midnight last night. All right, let's do a free play. I'm not going to do NHL because right now I've only got one game circled that could be a premium, and if that's the only one, it's not fair to my paying clients to do so. So, Oh, let's check this line real quick, see if it's moved. I've got 2 college basketball games circled right here. Let's see if either of these lines have moved. Sorry, guys, and I didn't mean to go on a 10-minute rant about that, but that dude pissed me off really bad. So, I basically wanted to put that out there. Not that the conversation I had with this guy was anybody's business, but just in the off chance somebody was getting ready to email me saying something bad about him, especially, I mean, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear any bad talk about the guy. I really don't. In my eyes, he's a good dude. But damn sure don't ever email me and have something negative to say about his service to this country. Him or anyone. I don't care if somebody fucking shot you in the face. If he served this country, you still owe him that. Because they, you know. So hopefully that will prevent any emails like that in the future. Because that one got me hot. Bad. I am about to take a chance on something that nobody's going to agree with, I don't think. I don't think they're going to agree with it. I don't think they're going to like it. Hell, you may not even play it because of it. Well, hell, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Texas Tech minus 2.5. I know you might not like it. I know Baylor's ranked number 4, Texas Tech number 22. Baylor's not ranked number 4 in my system. I've got Baylor at number 10. And I have Texas Tech just barely inside the top 25. But I'm telling you right now, like I told you at the beginning of the year, Texas Tech is the real deal when it comes to talented individuals on their team. The problem is where you've seen them get blown out this year, where you've seen them play like garbage, where you've seen them play like a high school team, is because they completely get off of the game plan. They try to play man-to-man when it's not when they're not a man-to-man team. If they don't go in playing man-to-man, they're not going to start halfway through the game. That's not their MO. If they're going to play zone defense that night, they have to come in with that game plan and roll with it. If they're going to play man-to-man and run a full-court press all night, they have to do so. And when they play like the team they are, like the team they were designed to be, the team that was built, Texas Tech is top-tier talent. And in my opinion, like I said the other day, Baylor's got a lot of talent. Give Baylor credit for being where they are. But I do not think Baylor is a true top 10 team. Based on the numbers, based on what we've seen thus far, I can't take top 10 away from them because they've earned it. But mark my words, when we come to the end of conference play, and we're not that long away, guys. Okay? We've got about a month and a half. And we'll be out of regular season conference play. We'll be finishing up conference tournaments, getting ready to start March Madness. Mark my words that Baylor will not only not be in the top 10, and they will not be a number 1 seed going into the tournament. If there's any top 15 team right now that I believe, if I had to choose one of them to say they don't even make the tournament, it's Baylor. Do I think they make the tournament? Yes. They'd be the first one out of any top 10 team right now that I'd ixnay from it to say they don't make it. Because I think they're a little bit smoke and mirrors. I think that they're a little bit overrated. I think their coach is overrated. And I think that right now, a lot of things have gone their way. Baylor is a team that can be easily exposed. Tonight just so happens to be a team that matches up to them very well. I think they'll out-rebound them. I think that their size in the paint, I think they will overpower them. And if Texas Tech is aggressive, second-chance shots are going to become a big deal in this game. And Texas Tech should win that battle. And if they do, they're going to win this game. And I see it being by more than 3 points now that we take home court into it. I think they're a 5-point better team without home court if they play to their potential. Again, if they don't play to their potential, Baylor comes in on the road like West Virginia does and wins by 15, 20 points. If both of these teams play to what they really are, then I say that Texas Tech wins by 8 to 10 points. I'm taking Texas Tech. I'm taking a minus 2.5. You're welcome to roll with it or not. But there you go. I made it as honest as I could. Danny. Thank God. Well, Keith, that issue actually just happened a couple of days ago, so kind of had to bring it back up because nobody's gone and been they just want drama. But one thing I just usually tell people, man, I don't care. If you guys don't see eye to eye, I'm sorry. I can't control communications or dealings that you have with each other because I'm not, I can't. Just like he can't control communications and dealings that I have with people. But you gonna sit there and disrespect my dude's military and his service to this country? Nah. I'll ride or die for that dude on that. I mean, and he probably hates my guts. That's fine. But I'm taking his back on that one. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit what he does to me. All right. Does anybody need me, before I wrap this up, does anybody need me to go over the contest details for them again? Or have you seen the free play video? Again, if you're not truly interested in making the purchase, if you win, do not even enter. Because it would be nothing more than a waste of your time and mine if you won. Before I call it quits, does anyone need me to go over it? I would rather do it now than, have to answer 20 more emails about it. Because it's a lot easier to say it than it is to type it. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Already have, Walter. I've already got people retweeting it. Mike, you would think that, I like it based on that, but I want to see how his first start goes. So even if the numbers match up and everything goes well there, that would be a game that I would lay off of for that reason. No, Irie, the play of the day is not Texas Tech -2. It's the free play that I gave out. If you want the play of the day, you're going to have to buy it. But because of that, in situations like that, I'll lay off and I just monitor it, take notes, and that's, I do that for that reason, because again, it's kind of the unknown, You just got to see how it plays out in real time versus trying to make assumptions or, just go off of something you can read. You got to see how it plays out. All right, Leon. So everybody knows that a 1-year all access pass is $4,000. Okay, comes with everything that I release for a year: games of the week, month, year, every sport, every play, every futures prediction, everything, even Patrick's NASCAR. I'm bringing on a horse capper and a golf capper next month if all goes according to plan. And what I'm going to do is, I had a customer of mine that wanted me to sell him a lifetime subscription because he was getting ready to re-sign up for another year. I told him, I said, there's no way for me to put a number on this. But what I'm going to do is, I got my wheels turning. You can buy a year for $4,000. Most of my people that buy that, they're happy to pay it the next year because their return on investment is the best thing they've ever done. You have to follow the system. Don't step out on your own games. Treat it like a business, not a hobby. But I said, you know what? What if I ran a contest and I allowed 3 people to win it that could then buy a lifetime subscription for less than the price of a year? So instead of paying $4,000 for a year, you could pay $3,000 and never have to pay another dime for as long as I continue to work until the day I retire, which, guys, isn't going to be anytime in the next decade. I plan on retiring when my kids are out of the house. So we've got a good long way. Less than the price of a year. And when I hire these new cappers on, even if I bring on even more cappers that do the sports that I already do, besides baseball, because that's not going to happen, you get those for free. You never have to make another purchase ever again, and you will always get everything that's ever released. $3,000. The details of the contest are, go watch my free play video from earlier today. The game involving the OKC Thunder and Brooklyn Nets. Tell me the score of the game. Put on there what you think OKC's final score will be and Brooklyn's final score will be. And then I want you to go on Twitter. You'll see a post that I made about that video that even says lifetime promotion or contest, whatever. Retweet it. Once you've done those 2 things, you are officially entered. And then, whoever the 3 closest to the correct final scores are will win the contest. Or if we have people that get the score right, spot on, the 3 people that gave their answer first will be the winners. It's like I told everybody, if you are not interested in this, truthfully, don't enter. Because you could win, and I don't want to waste my time, reaching out and saying, hey, you won. Here's how you go make your purchase. And be like, oh, no, man, I'm not interested. Give it to somebody else. Guys, I don't mind if you don't want it. I just don't want to waste my time having you win it if you don't want it. So that's the only request I have. Just make sure that you want it, and then good luck to you. I hope you win it. There'll be 3 winners. This is the only time I'm ever going to do this, so don't expect this to happen again in 6 months. Because, guys, it's going to cost every bit of that $3,000 in fees and processing and all that just to make this happen. I had to charge enough to make sure it didn't cost me anything out of my pocket. But I'm basically giving people lifetimes of plays for $0 on my end. So make sure you sign up if you're interested. Be the best deal you've ever gotten on anything. But I'm out of here, guys. I got stuff to do. Got to get these plays out here in a bit. Make sure you go sign up. I'll be checking email here in a little bit after I get done with the NBA. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck to all of you on the contest, the ones that sign up. And normal live video tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. And I think that's it. So good luck to us all tonight. If you're not interested in that package, that's fine. You want something short-term, go to the website. All the packages are up there, live and ready to go. And the plays will be out soon. You'll get an email if you sign up letting you know when they're ready. So let me know what I can do for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in so much. Good talk today. Deadline will be at the start of the OKC game tonight. At the start of the game, I'm not taking in any more. Like, I know people will do like they always do and enter the score at halftime or whatever. Once that game starts, everybody is going to be bundled up right there. And there's a system that we have where all of the names are there and we can click a button and it randomly draws one out of the people that, obviously win. Or score right, or the closest ones if you have people that make the same score or whatever. So All those names get set aside once the game starts. Anybody that comes in after tip-off, I don't care if it's 2 minutes after tip-off and they guess exactly right and tell me who's going to score each point. Doesn't count. So you have to not only have your score in before tip-off, they have to be labeled by team as well. You can't just say 100 to 120. You got to tell me which one. And it has to be retweeted by then too. Once tip-off comes, anything afterwards is not counted. Yep, I like this, Matt. Let's do this again tomorrow. 11 a.m., good chat. You guys come up with some topics, and let's make it happen. Good luck in the contest, everybody. Hope you win.